Hello and welcome back to This Day. Joining me now is survivor and author Diana Kingsley, aka Barbara Wolk. So nice to see you again. I tell you, you definitely knew what you were doing when I ran into you in the office, and then you gave me a copy of your book. So that was very sweet of you to give me a copy of your book, and although it was heartbreaking, I was really loved to read your book.
Thank you so very much. You know, you are the MC of the show, and when I saw you, I just wanted to share my book because I have a very strong bandstand platform about it, which I want to circulate as well as I can. But such a beautiful MC who I really don't know from Long Beach, California, to read my book and compliment me on TV, because we know we're on TV, is awesome, overwhelming, and so complimentary. Thank you for having me here today.
Yes, absolutely. I love your passion. Did you ever think you would one day be a published author?
No, I certainly didn't plan to. My mother brought me up to everyone grows up and gets married and lives happily ever after, which of course is not reality. And when I got divorced, I fell back on my education and training to be a teacher, and so I taught at various colleges and universities, New York and New Jersey, and finally got appointed to the front lines, New York City school system in one of New York City's finest, South Bronx.
Wow. You had said in your book that it was your dad who really made it a priority for you to make sure you got your education, especially because you did get married very young, correct?
Yes, well, I thought I was an old maid. I was 23 going on 80. He was very forceful and insisted, even though I got married, I needed one more course to get my master's degree, that I finish it, that I have something to fall back on. And I am so very grateful because the day arrived where I was left with an eviction notice in my hand and no family, no money, no work experience, or only my credentials with the master's degree from NYU in education, so that I eventually, after waiting 5 years, was able to get it pointed to the South Bronx.
And, you know, in your story here, some traumatic things that had happened in your life, and these led, you know, to the things, you know, I can't imagine, we don't want to talk about like the whole story of the book.
No.
We want people to read the book, but one of the things, you know, having your children ripped from you, not being able to raise your children, I just can't even imagine how traumatic and all that was to have gone through. Was this book, I'm sure it was cathartic for you to have write this book?
It was an absolute necessity. It was an extension of my life that when I just couldn't hold it in anymore, as I was about to retire, the words came pouring out like poison and terrible toxins from my pores. I had to write the book. There was no choice, no decision. It just had to be. But then I had to hold back from publishing it for 20 years because I was advised by a literary attorney that, hey, if you publish this book, your ex-husband, this wonderful attorney from Cornell and Cornell Law School, can sue you for every penny of your pension if he can even identify that you mentioned a beauty mark on your forearm. And so
you were silenced. So you were still relatively young when you wrote the book.
Right, today they call that a gag order.
Wow.
Right, I was silenced, and then the day that I heard that he left this earth, I was on it. I ran out, I got an editor, and I had known who I wanted to publish my book for those 20 years, Penelope Love of Citrine Publishing, and started it in action and wrote the very last chapter of my book right here in Laguna Woods Village in the Towers. And Here it is. Can I show it?
Yes, absolutely.
I love my cover because I designed it myself. And you can see there is a heart, but it's broken. It's shattered. And that's why this book is entitled Mother in Name Only.
Very appropriate name. And this...
I just want to interject one more thing. So rather than just a sad story, because we all have a story that we can tell, we all have a story that may have happened 20, 30, 40, 50, or like me, even 60 years ago, that we just can't forget because it was so traumatic that no matter what we do, we can't erase it. And so, I have a dream, and I will make it happen, to start a foundation that will help any woman or man who, in any country, of any language, to learn that they must find their voice and use their voice to report any verbal or physical abuse to a good friend, a family member, or even the police, so that there is a witness, so they may catch the culprit and make him accountable. And that's my dream, not just of being a teacher, but of teaching anyone who needs help about how to take care of themselves, stand on their own 2 feet, and not allow anyone in any way to abuse them.
Is this your biggest regret, the fact that you didn't have a voice back then?
Well,
and that
I
it would be hard
for my biggest regret is who I married. I didn't marry the right person, and I really was and still am an incurable romantic. I truly believe in love. I truly know that there is a right person for you, many right people, but the challenge is to meet them. And so I believe in love, and I didn't marry the right person. In those days, there was very little knowing who the person was or what to even look for, because when you're young, you don't know very much. You're really almost illiterate in emotional life. So that's my greatest. The second one is this, that, and the other thing. I have regrets, but I also am more than grateful to have celebrated my 84th birthday Sunday, and I celebrated with such joy and support and happiness that all the regrets disappeared.
Well, definitely the silver lining is all the awards now that are coming from writing this book and finally being able to get it published. And you have book talks coming up.
This morning, as I was leaving the house, I checked my new mail, and I got the newest flyer from our wonderful Florence Sylvester Senior Center right here in Laguna Hills. We're going to have a book talk and signing this month on Wednesday, October 25th, from 1 to 2 in the afternoon, and the wonderful director, Ami, put together this fabulous flyer. Just got it on my way out of the house this morning, and I'd love to share it with all of you.
That's wonderful,
And I hope you show up, because there's going to be a raffle with a free book, and guess what? I not only have this book, I have a brand new book cover coming out, because just last week I won the New York City Big Book First Prize winner, Women's Fiction.
Wow.
And I have a gold seal coming out, and my publisher is sending me those books just intended, earmarked for this book talk at the Senior Center. Yes.
Congratulations. That is very exciting news.
And what also is important is to know that part of my vendetta is the fact that last year in New York, there was a law passed called the Adult Survivor Act. Anyone, male or female, going back for as long as you can imagine. There's no limitation. It used to be something like 3 years. I go back 60 years in making the culprit who raped me accountable, only because of this act. And this act is over in November of this year, November 24th. So let me just say, for anyone out there who has some trauma, please look into it before it's too late. After November 24th, you won't be able to do that. It'll only be within a 3-year limitation. And by the way, that's the same law that our friend Donald Trump was sued for and has to pay $5 million to Miss Elliott. I believe that's her name. We all know about that case.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a very important act. And California, by the way, is following suit with their laws. So we have to stand up for our rights.
Well, thank you so much for coming on and telling us this today. And obviously, even though there's so much tragedy, there's been a silver lining that has come out of this. And I wish you much success in healing.
Well, thank you. And it isn't just for me individually. No, 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 no. It's for the universe. It's for everyone in any country, even the women who are now in Israel being traumatized, victimized, and abused, for the men, for the fact that these things do exist, and in reality, we have to stand up united and try to make the people who are barbarians from the Middle Ages accountable. That's the biggest lesson that's going on right now in every country all over the world. I'm just a tiny microcosm of the, thank you.
Well, and it's, you never know how one little ripple can be effective. So thank you. Thank you. So nice to talk with you.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
If you would like to read Diana's book, Mother in Name Only, you can always purchase a copy, or there's a copy at the Village Library in the Village Authors section of the Reading Room area. Stay with us. We'll have more of This Day right after this.